The team behind Paralives did a 45-minute live stream of the in-game footage, which is the first time I think we've had this since Paralives has been announced. I know that some Patreon members were able to see some live footage from through the Patreon site, but this is the first time like for the public that we've gotten to see this. So they started off with Create a Para, where they created a parafolk. His name is Milo Caruso. And I apologize, I do not remember the name of the young lady who was doing the live stream, who was hosting it. I believe she's one of the community managers. She was kind of walking us through it. So she was showing us the 4 different stats. So you can have physique, mind, creativity, or charisma, and you get to put the points in the categories that you want. You also get to pick the vibe. So I think the vibe is more of a personality aspect. So the vibe can be overjoyed, gloomy, energetic, serious, or gesture, like a jokester. Then you get to pick the social perk. So the social perks kind of help your para navigate the world around them and like how they interact with other paras. So for example, they can be good at being alone, good at making friends, good at taking care of others, good at romantic relationships, or good at co-parenting or cooperating. I'm sorry. Then you can pick your para's talent, and you can choose between a few things. So jack of all trades, music, food, technology, art. They can also be good at nothing if you want to kind of have a hard luck story, or fitness. Then you can pick their lifestyle. It's a check the box, but you can pick if they're vegetarian or not. You can pick if they're early bird, normal, or a night owl, and you can pick their cleaning habits. So she kind of went through Create a Para pretty fast, probably because there has been other videos about Create a Para and like the different clothing and stuff like that. So I'll put a link into the description if you want to see those. Then we got to see a little bit of the world. So there's kind of a small town square with a few shops and like an apartment that your para can live in. So when you first get started, you have, you have objectives or goals, or what they call them, and you can see your basic needs. So right now the needs are pretty basic. You have a food need, a hunger need, a bathroom need, a sleep need, and like a shower need. So it's not as many needs as you might be used to in other life simulation games. And then your para has different reactions. Like they can be happy, they can be inspired, and you can use the different reactions to like pick what you want to do next. So in her example, because he was happy, he could choose like, does he want to find a job in like the music industry, or does he want to clean up something because he has that trait of being neat. So it kind of, their personalities kind of affect who they are and like how they're going to interact with the world. Because he's a new para, his goals are to get settled into a home. So he needs to find a job, he needs to put a decorative item in the home, and he needs to cook a meal. So that's pretty standard. I mean, that's any, like, it's going to basically be a tutorial at first because this is your first time playing Paralives. So that was helpful. They also showed off a newspaper interaction. So every start of the day, there's a different paper. So for the first day, obviously, it's Monday, Spring 1. And it just kind of tells you things that are going around town, like a list of activities and stuff to kind of get you started. You also get a coupon for $100 off. So that was kind of cool. And then it unlocked another goal, which was to collect 5 gems, mushrooms, or artifacts, make a donation to the museum, make a donation to the community center, buy something at a shop, become acquaintances with 3 friends. So if you don't have a direction for your para, that's kind of a good way to get started. So showing off the phone interactions, right now the phone's pretty basic. So it does have 2 options. You can use the phone to like find a job, order stuff, play video games, check social media, or you can use the phone to go home basically. So you like clicking on him, that's what his options are. So you get to see the different jobs, and they haven't really fleshed everything out because I mean the game is pre-early access. We're not getting early access until May of 2026. But the different categories looks like there's software development, art, service, music, education, management, maintenance, healthcare, science, fitness, and food. So you can try to find a career that kind of works for your para based on their skill set. Like, unfortunately, your para has no skills when you make a fresh one from Create a Para. So, like, she shows us an example for his application points. If you want to be like an engine programmer, he would need charisma to move up in this field, and like he has a little bit of skills, so he could get this job. But there's other jobs that he wouldn't qualify for, right? Like the systems engineer, which is a rank 29 career, he doesn't have the skills for. So some jobs have a lot of entry level positions, like for example, the service career. There's a store clerk, a hairdresser, a receptionist. Like those are entry level jobs under the service tab that he could qualify for. But for example, under the management tab, he doesn't qualify for anything. Because these are managers at different locations, like managers at the gym, managers at a restaurant, managers at a music studio. Like he obviously doesn't have any experience, so he can't get a manager position yet. So he's not really qualified. Because he has an interest in music, she picks the music therapist rank 1 at the local hospital, and then you kind of get to choose your schedule. So there's a drop down menu for both the days of the week and the times, so you can choose between like a midday session, like a 12 noon to 5 p.m. You could choose a late afternoon session, so 5 p.m. to like 10 p.m. or like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it's a short day. It's like a 4-hour session, it looks like. And then you can choose what the days off are. So you can have weekends off. You can work weekends. You can have every other day off. It just depends on how you want to structure your para's time. I think that's helpful, especially if you're doing a household with multiple paras. You may want them to have overlapping days off, or you may not want them to have overlapping days off. Or also if you have childcare needs, for example, if your para which they didn't show children or anything in this live stream, but I could see where if you had 2 paras as the parents, and then you had a child or school age para, and you wanted someone to be home to watch them after school, you would try to make your schedule like around the school schedule. So I like that there's a bunch of flexibility. So as you continue to complete goals and things like that, you unlock different experience points, like personality experience points, skill points, career points that you can use in different categories. So right now Milo's point, first thing was because he got a job. So now we're going to check out the apartment, where you can put down the decor item. There was a lot of plants to choose from. So there's 2 options. You can either buy things in the local shops that are in that town square, or you can just use the build catalog. So it depends on what type of time you have. So Milo is enjoying his life. He's trying to practice the programming skill so that he can level up at his job. So he's getting some programming, and there's sometimes skills will dually overlap. So like he's getting both the programming skill and the technology skill by using the computer. I think that's cute. In other life simulation games, every skill seems to be very separate. Like for example, in The Sims 4, if your sim has the diving skill, they may have the diving skill, but not the fitness skill, which is a little confusing because you need fitness to dive. So it kind of makes sense you would build both skills at the same time. If you learn one, you've learned the other. You may learn them at different rates, but it doesn't make sense that they're 2 different skills. And then you can level up in these different skills as time goes on, and you can check your skills as time goes on. So quick disclaimer, under the skills section, right now it's early access, right? So they don't have all the skills in there, and the skill max level is 20, but not all levels can be unlocked just yet because they're still in early access. But I like that it has an early access warning, so people won't be like blindsided by certain things. So we can see he has a lot of music skill. He's had 1 food, 1 fitness, 2 technology because he just moved up to level 2, 3 art, 1 outdoorsiness, 1 repair, 1 science. So these different things will affect what he can do in the future. And we see when she clicked on the fridge and tried to cook something, because he only has 1 food skill, he only can make a microwaved veggie burger, a microwave tofu dog, a frozen pizza, or peanut butter toast. Because he's very low in his cooking level. There'll be more stuff unlocked, obviously, as he goes up in the cooking skill or the food skill. Now, as you move up in your personality, you can use your personality points to do different things. So in this example that we have with Milo, when he leveled up in his personality, which currently his talent is music, it looks like you can unlock more talents, more social perks, and more vibes over time as you level up. But right now he only has 1 of each. Personality upgrades are still being worked on, so we'll see that come over time. He can either choose music makes you feel better, which playing music for 2 hours unlocks a reaction that removes all sad emotions that are 2 or less, or playing music for X amount of hours unlocks a reaction that gives every household member plus X amount of happiness. They're still working on these, so I think the hours should actually have a number. It shouldn't be 0. So that's something to keep in mind, is that there's going to be, depending on your para's talent, as you level up, you may find perks that work and perks that don't. I mean, it just kind of depends on what the perks are. So that's interesting, that there's a lot of leveling up and things to keep in mind. So you can see how they're feeling. You can see what they're doing. A new day started, and you can read the newspaper again. Doesn't seem like the newspaper is super impactful yet. Maybe it will be in the future. They did show off being able to select other outfits, which was cool. And then you just continue to kind of plug away with the goals, it seems like. So it looks like Milo needs to make acquaintances for one of his goals. So you can click on a random para, and that gives you 3 different like cue cards that you can choose from. So you can see the other para, their mood, and then you have choices. So Milo can choose to introduce himself as new in town. He can ask for directions, or he can just introduce himself. And then you'll see how the other person responds to that. Some cue cards have percentages above them that will tell you like how successful this interaction is going to be. So, for example, if he wants to discuss his favorite meal, attempt to make everyone happy because he is overjoyed, perk, or talking about programming, he has a 58% chance of being successful attempting to make everyone happy. So some things are unlocked based on environment. For example, ask about your job is unlocked because he just got a job, right? So that makes sense that he would ask about something that is important to him. And then because of his overjoyed trait, he has 2 different socializations about happiness. So that kind of makes sense. I think it's overall a good relationship. There's a whole relationship menu where you can see kind of where you are with different people. I mean, of course, it's still in early access, so there's going to be more relationship labels coming in the future. But some of the relationship labels are pretty obvious. Like, for example, Alita is a coworker. She also works as a music therapist, and she's coworker level 1. So she has a very specific relationship to Milo versus, he randomly meets Orion and they have an acquaintance level 1 and a friend level 1. So, as time goes on, hopefully we'll see more examples of that. But it's nice that coworker is its own category, because in other life sims, they just make everyone a friend or romantic. And it's only like friend, family, romantic. There's only 3 types of relationships. And sometimes that can be confusing, because you may only be friends with your coworker because they're a coworker. They're not actually your friend outside of work. That kind of thing. But it was nice to see that, and I hope to see more relationship labels in the future. Now, the job or the career is off screen. It is rabbit hole, so you won't see them go to work. But after they've gone to work, sometimes you'll get a pop-up that will tell you like they had a good day, their performance. So you can see Milo, rank 1 for music therapist. He works about 5 hours a day, 4 days a week, and he gets $250 per shift. His performance was 100%. He's in a good mood when he went to work. He has good piano skill, good guitar skill, and good triangle skill. No strikes against him, so he can upgrade his job. Now, upgrades seem to act kind of like the cue cards or the interaction cards with people. You have 3 options you can pick from. So he can either upgrade his rank to 2, which will give him $10 per day more. So he'll get $260 instead of $250. He can choose to gain $250 a day more, but his shift ends 3 hours later, which would be overtime basically. Or he can get +1 inspired per vacation day accrued after each workday. Right now he doesn't have any vacation days, but he also just started the job. For money's sake, it's usually going to be just moving up in the rank. I wouldn't necessarily choose to do overtime unless you just have to. They showed off some more interactions talking to people, and then they showed off the shop. So there's a shop called Bloom, Bloom, and it's a plant shop, which is apropos. So in the plant shop, he got to talk to a new friend that they got to interact with and had a great time, which is lovely. It's not every day that you get to talk to a new para. And so you get to talk to these people. And again, you see the percentages where they can kind of have these different conversation pieces. They did mention that every day there's a free plant available in the shop if you want to redeem that at 0 cost. The plants are supposed to rotate through. When I saw the game, which I don't know if it's a glitch or not, the plants were the same plant every day. So not 100% sure if that was meant to be that way. They also showed off the inventory system, being able to take the plant out and put it wherever you want. And then they showed off skill building again, so using the guitar to gain skill. So I mean, overall, I think the live stream was very interesting. We didn't get to see a whole lot. It does seem like it's a little light on gameplay right now. Like, towards the end of the stream, we saw that Milo moves up to rank 2, and then he gets another upgrade option. His performance was kind of mixed when he was on rank 2. He was in a good mood, good guitar, but he didn't have a lot of piano or triangle. So I think he needs to have a certain level of those two to move up. So again, the choices were to upgrade to rank 3, which would give you $10 more an hour. Assist overwhelmed customers. It gives you +1 coworker relationship with a random coworker after each work shift, but the shift ends an hour later. Or you gain extra per day completed without taking a vacation. It's set at 0, but I'm assuming at one point it will be an actual dollar amount. So that was interesting, and we got to see a little bit about flirting. So there was a random para that Milo came in contact with, and after spending a little bit of time talking to her, he was able to admit that he was extremely attracted to her and expressed some romantic interest, which was different, and it changed the cue cards. So the romantic cue cards are like a neon pink, like a fuchsia color. So one option was to share love life plans. Another option was to ask if they're single, but you can ask it in a regular way. So the white cards seem to have no emotion tied to it, and then the pink cards are flirty. But unfortunately, when they asked if she was single, she said that she was in a long-term romantic partnership. So that was kind of a no for Milo, but it was interesting to see. I wish we could see a little bit more about the romantic partnerships. Are there romantic interactions besides talking? Like, can you kiss another para? Can you hug another para? Like, how far does the interaction go? We didn't really get to see that in this. I hope we do more live streams in the future. I really enjoyed, the bit that we did see. Like I said, this is the first time we've had any sort of in-game live streaming for the general population to watch. And I wasn't sure, I know they had to push things back. So I wasn't 100% sure how far they've gotten into development. It does seem like they have a bit of a game. They have some sort of direction with their gameplay for sure. I think it could be fleshed out more. I could see why they delayed it a bit because it's, a little light on gameplay. But overall, I still like what I see, and I still think it was pretty fun. I really enjoyed the live stream, and I really hope that they do another one in the future. Whatever that looks like, I hope maybe they'll do one close, like even if they just did one every 2 or 3 weeks or one closer to release in May would be great. I think it's a hard one. They don't want to show off too much when things are still being worked on, but they got to keep people interested, and with the delay, it does kind of, shake people up and put a little bit of, fear under them that is this going to be legit? Is this going to work out? What's going to happen? But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think of the live stream.